My name is Judy Canales, and I serve as the administrator for the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Development, Rural Business and Cooperative Programs. I am based here in Washington, D.C., and I'm responsible for administering the numerous programs that our agency is a part of within our 47-state network within USDA Rural Development. And I am indeed very pleased to also join you on behalf of President Barack Obama and USDA Secretary Tom Vilsack. I've been on board now in this position for almost 2 years, and I've had the pleasure of working with Secretary Vilsack, who many of you all know is a native of Iowa and a former mayor, a former governor, but a true partner and a true friend and a true advocate for rural development in this country. Before I proceed any further, I also want to recognize several of our, some of my colleagues who are present here today, because as the administrator, you have a role to work with the team. And the team is only as good as, to me, as the support that we can provide and bringing together all some really good folks. So I want to recognize some of my colleagues who are here today. Mr. Bruce Reynolds, who's here from Cooperative Programs. Bruce, thank you. And I also want to recognize someone who I know many of you all know, Ms. Margaret Bow, who is coming in from our state office in Wisconsin, so one of our 47 state offices, because that's how we operate. And so, Margaret, thank you so much, and thank you so much for your leadership in this area. You have truly become I believe, a national expert in the healthcare field. And of course, Bruce, in his work for our research in cooperatives, and of course, based here in Washington, D.C., has been holding down the fort as well, too, for us. So, Bruce, thank you. I also want to recognize as well, of course, and thank Liz Bailey for her leadership in putting together this very important forum for today. And as Liz and I have had a chance to visit a little bit more and learn more about the important work for CDF, and not just for Washington, but truly for the nation. And I think that we can make some changes in communities that will be historic. And so, Liz, thank you. I know Diane Gazaway. Is Diane here at the table already? There you, Diane, thank you. And we had a chance to visit in Washington State, so thank you so much for your leadership. Also an RCDG awardee for USDA, so thank you so much for your leadership as well. And then also I want to recognize our longtime partner here, Paul Hazen, who you all will be hearing from afterwards in leading National Cooperative Business Association. Paul, thank you. He has been also a true friend for me in this job, as he has educated me on a regular basis about the diversity of cooperatives. You all know, of course, that regarding USDA is that the thing that you would normally think about is agriculture, of which we're proud of, don't get me wrong, because that, of course, is the original industry of this country. However, Paul brings it about to make sure that we are very mindful that it is diverse within the cooperative family, and the use of the cooperative business model, which I believe if our country could take a better look at what this business model is about, perhaps we can resolve some of the challenges in this economy that we have. And so, Paul, thank you so much. Now, regarding our work at USDA and what we are about in rural development, our charge is to make sure that the 1 in 6 Americans who live in rural communities, 1 in 6 Americans, have an opportunity that everyone else strives for in this country, which is quality of life. Opportunities to be able to raise your family, to be able to have job opportunities, to have educational opportunities, and be able to make the choices. The choices that myself and my family, coming from rural South Texas, we made years ago to live in a small town in South Texas. I was raised there, was in Girl Scouts and church and community and school, and ended up actually attending our community college in South Texas before I went on to the University of Texas, which was of course in a big city in Austin. And our campus was probably 3 times the amount of student population than my own hometown in South Texas. So I come from the rural roots, and I know about the challenges, and Secretary Vilsack always points that out to us, and has, in a recent statement that he made, it was a reminder that rural America offers many opportunities, but it also faces a number of challenges that have been experienced for decades. Rural Americans earn less than their urban counterparts and are more likely to live in poverty. More rural Americans are over the age of 65. They have completed fewer years of school, and more than half of America's rural counties are losing population, the term of outmigration. In addition, improvements in health status also have not kept pace, and access to doctors and health services have been a key challenge in rural America. So we know about the difficulties. However, at the same time, USDA Rural Development, we maintain and we are, of course, concentrating on our budget for this coming fiscal year. And where we do propose improvements, or where we do propose the opportunities for funding for programs, it is all about, in the long run, addressing investment in rural America. Really, that is what we're about in rural development, is to address investment in our rural communities. And so with the work that we do in rural business and cooperative programs, which has been very active, and I do want to point out that particularly last year, where we had the ability to have additional funds because of Recovery Act dollars, rural business cooperative programs, we did $3.3 billion worth of investment in our loan programs and in our grant programs. And so that was a big year for us. We continue now, though, in fully utilizing all of the programs that we have available within USDA Rural Development, and particularly in our programs with rural business. And I want to make sure that you all know, before I delve into the work specifically here, that the financial tools that we have at hand, be it the Business and Industry Loan Guarantee Program or the Intermediary Lending Program, we have several revolving loan funds. Many of them, and certainly within BNI, one of the biggest components regarding the Business and Industry Program is healthcare. And what that means is support for hospitals, support for doctors' clinics, support for healthcare facilities in rural communities. And when we speak of rural communities, I'm speaking about a community of a population of 50,000 and below. So in many, many states, you may have a couple or 3 communities that are not eligible, but the rest of the territory in those states is pretty wide open space for us. And so I want to make sure that for all of you who are here in the network in support of CDF, that you all know that as you go back to your home states, make sure that you make the connection with our state offices who are led by a state director. And we have a state office that therefore has a network of offices that we're responsible for the delivery of our rural development programs. And so, indeed, USDA and rural development recognizes the need for support for healthcare. But in addition to that, regarding cooperatives, and in particular the work that we're doing here for USDA and with the CDF and the network, I want to make sure that you all know what has occurred in regards to our investment. And in particular, the Rural Cooperative Development Grant, which this organization is a part of, Diane's organization is a part of, that is our opportunity to be able to finance an organization within a state that can be a partner for us, to be able to leverage federal funds, but also, frankly, it's that expertise. It's that expertise that is also what I would say is you can't even put value on it, because those are folks within Diane's organization, within Liz's organization, who can work on the ground, can work in community, and can have a very profound sense of what the needs are in those areas. I talked to Liz earlier about my own home area in South Texas, where I saw the growth of home health care assistance, where I saw these types of businesses that are frankly burgeoning in my home area. And so I'm very intrigued by these models that we are actually supporting. And Margaret pointed out to me Cooperative Care of Washera County in Wisconsin. And Cooperative Care is a worker-owned home health care cooperative in Wisconsin, formed in 2001 with inspiration from New York's Cooperative Home Care Associates. So that would be you, right? Yes. And the project was a semifinalist for the Innovation in American Government Award in 2002 and is given special mention when the Association of Cooperative Educators honored the organizer, Margaret Bow, in 2006. In 2008, there were 85 member owners providing care. 85 member owners. So once again, a model in which employees from that organization turn this around and become the business owners themselves. Correct, Margaret? And so I thought that that was something that was very important that I wanted to stress to you, that we have several instances within our cooperative support, within rural development, that have now sprung new ideas. And like I said, agriculture has been a part of this. This past year in October, and we plan again for this in October of this year, we had the opportunity to highlight cooperatives. It was Cooperative Month in October, and we had the opportunity as well to highlight the cooperative that is based in Wisconsin as well too, that supports food, access to fresh food for that particular hospital. And this was a model in which the administration from the hospital saw, we've got to do something better to be able to bring in and supply food for our patients, food for our employees within this hospital institution. So we had the chance to highlight this particular group in Washington last year and learn more about the fact that part of our effort as well too is to support what we call food to institutions, be able to bring in more opportunities to access healthy foods. This is being also a big initiative for Secretary Vilsack. And so again, it supports the healthcare component that we sorely need within this country. And so that is another example that I have been supporting. In the long run, think about USDA rural development as your resource and as your partner. Our effort in 47 states, Margaret and her colleagues who are located in each one of these states, and obviously Bruce and our operation here in Washington, D.C., working in cooperation at the national level, at the state level, at the local level, we are people who realize that if we do not speak up for, if we do not maintain our investment in our rural communities, we will continue to lose ground. That is not what we're about. And on the contrary, what we believe is that within rural areas, we are part of the solution. I know that the Secretary has expressed this time and again when he talks about the value systems and when he talks about people in our rural areas who stand up, who are people who are looking at opportunities for creating better communities and who are also very much standing up for this country. And so indeed, I am so pleased to be able to join you this morning as part of this conference, and I commend Liz Bailey for her leadership. I also commend all of you for the efforts that you are making in our rural areas. Consider us once again as your partner, as your resource, and potentially also as your financier, in which we serve as that catalyst for investing in our rural areas. Thank you. I appreciate the chance to visit with you all here today. And Liz, please call upon us to serve in support for you as you continue with a very wonderful agenda for today. Congratulations to CDF for your leadership, and I look forward to continued success. Thank you.